Hey, Barrett Edelstein here, your celeb expert and your Celeb Savant. Celeb Savant is a weekly entertainment show. We have long-form career retrospective type interviews with celebrities, singers, actors, and industry experts. South African artist Fagrie Isaacs has been performing since he was a child. He later joined Cape Town's biggest and most loved boy band, The Boys, and was their lead singer for many years. As a solo artist, Fagrie has appeared in quite a few local music productions in Cape Town. With almost 35 years of experience entertaining audiences across the world, the stage has become his playground. With an incredible stage presence and soulful voice, he captures his audience so easily. For this episode of Celeb Savant, I'll be speaking to Fagrie around his Luther Vandross tribute show called Here and Now. Up next on Celeb Savant, we've got Fagrie Isaacs. Where do we find you in the world, and how are you doing?
I am in Cape Town, South Africa, and I am doing absolutely amazing. Thank you.
I know you've been on the entertainment path for a number of years. So let's rewind to your journey of being in that world. At what age did it start, and how did it accumulate to where we are today?
It all started way back in 1987 as a part of my primary school choir. Music was a compulsory subject, but when I started, my music teacher, my late music teacher, Mrs. Morris, had noticed that there was something, according to her, something special about me. And she was the one who sort of identified it and nurtured, the talent that she saw. And but I've always had a love for music for as long as I can remember. Music has been a part of my life. Always. Every significant thing that happened in my life, music has always been a part of it. When I'm feeling sad, there were certain songs that would pick me up. Even when I'm feeling good, there's certain songs that would just help, set the soundtrack of your life, if I can put it that way. So Music is, I've always loved music, and I've always loved making music. I love it.
You've been in multiple sort of disciplines, so to speak, in the music world. So you've been a part of boy band, choirs, singing solo. So let's tap into each. So first of all, in the choirs.
I said, let's start from the choir, and let's take it. I'll take you step by step through the musical journey. Okay?
Yes, exactly.
So, like I said, 1987, my teacher sort of noticed that there was something special. I later on became the lead soprano for the choir, and absolutely loved it. We toured the country doing competitions and things like that, and it was amazing memories were made, during that time of my life. Now I need to put you into perspective, like where we're going to end up, how my love for soul and R&B music started. So in my household, growing up as a young lad, I have the fondest memories of my parents playing, when we used to go on our road trips, journeys across the country. And the only songs that would play would be the classic Motown, soul music. The Manhattans, the Stylistics, the Platters, the Teddy Pendergrass, all these phenomenal artists that shaped, music that we know today, as we know today. I've absolutely fallen in love. So at school, I had the classical side, and at home, I had the soul side, covered, the Motown covered. And it wasn't until I got to high school in the 90s, when the R&B started booming with like the Boys to Men's and the As Yets and All for One and these guys, Every guy wanted to be part of a group back then. Every guy wanted to be the next Wanye Morris and things like that. And it was normal. Cape Town, Cape Flats, growing up in the Cape Flats, every school had the doo-wop groups and things like that. It was a normal thing. And, I just happened to be part of them. And once again, there was something special because whenever my group would perform, everybody would come. Everybody, like literally the whole school, every event, myself and my group performing and things like that. So that's when the R&B side started, and where I started sort of messing around in that genre of music. now I had the classical, I had the soul, and I had the R&B sort of, down. And in 1987, so another part of my musical history is I grew up within the Malay choirs. In Cape Town, it's a big thing. It's a cultural thing. It's the Malay choirs. It's a big competition that happens every single year for as long as I can remember. It's probably been around for about 100 years. So I grew up in that, right? And in there we sing Afrikaans and we sing Nederlands. And I grew up singing the adult solo, which is an Afrikaans solo, right? But the competition itself was like choral type singing, so I was very familiar with that from my background from school. And then later on in 1997, one of the guys that played mandolin in our choir was actually one of the members from one of Cape Town's biggest boy bands, which was the Boys. Mm. And he came to me and he said, "Listen, guy, we need a front man. Would you be interested in job?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't know, like maybe not." And then my wife, then girlfriend at the time, said to me, "Listen, why don't you just give it a shot? You never know." I did, and I never looked back. I mean, I learned such a lot from being part of the group, the Boys. We traveled a lot, extensively, and we, new experiences musically, and also I was with the Boys for 20 years. So I think my time with the Boys was probably of the best years of my musical career, because I learned the most. Even though all of the other things that I did was setting a foundation, but performing with the Boys sort of gave me that stage presence and personality that you have on stage, because sometimes you get very good singers, they get onto stage and they just look very awkward on stage. Even just speaking to the audience, it's hard for them, because what they know is singing. They know singing, right? They don't particularly know communication with the audience or eye contact and the little things that you learn from performing often on stage. So that's, I mean, I learned the most from being part of the Boys. Now we need to go back, because we need to get to where we are today. So let's go back to 1994. Luther Vandross releases an album called Songs, simply called Songs, by Luther Vandross. It was an album of songs, mostly covers of popular songs that he had redone. And I always say, when I'm talking about it, I never say that he had redone them. I always say that he had perfected them, because Luther's versions of certain songs is just, I mean, I don't think anybody will be able to better it ever. One of those particular songs, and the song that sort of drew me into the artist that is Luther Vandross, is The Impossible Dream. It's very classical. You hear the flute, and then the orchestra comes in, and it's amazing. And I'm like, okay. And then the silky, smooth, soulful voice just hits you. It's like, to dream the impossible dream. And I'm like, whoa! Because for the first time, I've got all these genres of music. I've learned them.
Yes.
But it's the first time that I've heard somebody like sort of marry the two. I won't say combine them. Yeah. Combine is just, it's just too small a word. It got like, that was like a match made in heaven. And I was like, wow, can you do that? Like, that's insane. And that song sort of drew me into the artist that is Luther Vandross. And I had researched every single song from there. And I'm going to be honest, I don't like every single song, because not every artist released a song that was a hit. Like, there's so many fantastic artists. Yeah. And I know you know what I'm talking about. You've got so many albums or CDs in your car, but you'd listen to maybe 5 tracks out of 20 on that album. However, the album that I'm talking about, the songs by Luther Vandross, I literally knew every single song by heart. It was that good. And then I researched, and I obviously stumbled across his 1981 release of Never Too Much, and then 1987 when he did Yeah Now, and all of these amazing songs. It's like, wow, this guy is phenomenal. I absolutely fell in love with the artist that is Luther Vandross. Growing up, you have many sort of bucket list items that you'd like to tick off, and one of them for me is like, so firstly was to make my mark in the music industry, to be able to, perform on these stages, and hopefully one day get to meet this artist. And let me tell you, I've performed in 2014. I got the honor of performing on literally the biggest stage in the world, which is Carnegie Hall in New York City. I had the honor of performing there in 2014. I had the honor of performing many places across the globe, and I've met and performed with many international acts and artists, and it was amazing. But the one artist I never ever got to meet or perform with was the one that I wanted most, and that was Luther Vandross. And that brings us to where we are today. So after he passed, I was like, I'll never get that opportunity. However, I've always had this vision that I would like to put together a show, or an experience, as I call it, for the audience. I would like to produce a show as if I was sitting in the audience, and I'd sort of imagine myself sitting in the audience, and this is what it would have been like watching Luther Vandross perform, a Luther Vandross concert. And that's where the idea stemmed from. And I've been hanging on to it for many, many years. And it wasn't until about just over a year ago, my manager came to me and he said, dude, you know what? It's time. I think you need to do this thing.
Yeah.
You need to do the Luther Vandross tribute. And I'm like, and I'm a perfectionist. So if it was up to me, I still wouldn't have done it. But I'm so glad that I did, because once we did it, it was just something else. It was something else. I talked to you about it, and I'm actually getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It's like everything that I had envisioned had, come to life, and it was so perfect. It was so beautiful, and yeah, I was so glad that I actually got to share that with people, and now brings us to where we are now. I'm so glad that we getting to take it further and take it to the rest of the country, and then hopefully to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned that you were a perfectionist, and that was limiting or challenging you from releasing or pursuing the show. So what, in your mind, what was the thing that was saying, okay, no to doing it at that time? What was that perfectionist element, so to speak?
I needed to find the perfect band. I needed to find the perfect backing vocalists. I needed to find, I needed to find the perfect setting, and everything just needed to be perfect. And for me, like, thinking about it, I wouldn't want to do it in front of an audience like 200-300 people. I wanted to be like, like the real thing. That was number one. And then number two was, I had all these ideas, like, so when we do, like, example, I do Dance with My Father, and during the performance, so on screen, we had created a video reel that goes on screen, and I said that I would want to pay tribute to, when we do that song, not only to our fallen heroes, like the people that created the path for us in the music industry, that sort of set the foundation for us. Not only them, but the living legends, which, like, my father and other members of society that has contributed to our freedom in South Africa, and also the success of the music industry. So what we've created was, while I'm singing, on screen you'll see it's as if you're walking down a corridor, and on the wall is photos. It's photo frames hanging of all the legends, like the late Tali Peterson, Nelson Mandela, Desmond Tutu, Hugh Masekela, and then obviously, like I said, in between, our parents would pop, our fathers would pop up there. I mean, that was such an amazing moment of the show, and these are the little elements that I had envisioned. But remember, when you envisioning it is one thing, but actually having to put it into action, there's a budget that needs to be allocated for those things. Things happen for a reason, and everything has its time. And I believe that it was the time for us to do it, because everything just fell into place. And like I said, thinking about it, I get goosebumps because it wasn't that there was things missing. It was more a case of, I think I was afraid of failure because this had meant so much to me. A failure in my mind would be one person, even one person walking out of that auditorium or that venue, not feeling inspired or not feeling that they've just watched something absolutely phenomenal.
Okay.
That is failure for me. But the reviews and on the social media pages, I'm very active on my social media pages. I go live like on daily check-in and things like that. And I mean, after the show, people had just bombarded the social media platforms. It was like, dude, that was next level. Like we can't wait for the next one. You know, that kind of vibe. And that is exactly what you want. You want, as an artist and as a producer, as a creative mind, that's the one thing that any producer wants is just acknowledgement that what you've done, you've successfully executed what you've set out to do. And that's what we've did. Absolutely.
Okay. So without giving too much more away, because we want people to come and see it, tell us a little bit more about the show, what people can expect.
Let me tell you this. So when I said perfectionist, like even with the duets, so if you want to know how perfect I needed it to be, I started working with I think probably one of the best female vocalists in South Africa today. Andrea Fontaine, she is 21 years old, but she is absolutely phenomenal. She has complete control over vocals, and she is such a gem. And we did a cover of Endless Love. That was the first video we did together, and within a week we had in excess of 2 million views.
Wow.
On that. So on the social media platforms of that cover, it was absolutely phenomenal. People were like, "Guy, this is like Luther and Mariah reincarnated." Yes, like this is the comments that people got, and that's what I was talking about. Everything needed to be perfect. If there was a song where Luther had coupled up with somebody to do a duo or something like that, or duet, I needed the person that was going to do the other artist. It needed to be spot on. And let me just put it out there. There's like a lot of people come out and say, "Dude, you sound just like Luther," or "You Luther reincarnated," or "Luther would be so proud," or all of these things. But there is elements of the show where we sort of, it's the same song, but I will add a little bit of myself to it, because at the end of the day, it is me paying tribute to a legend. That was the one thing that made Luther stand out from everybody else. He never did anything according to standard. It was always his way. And, I've learned a lot from watching the artist that is the legend that is or was Luther Vandross, and, how he performed and how his approach to music. It was very playful. Literally, I've never seen anybody do it before. Luther would literally walk past a microphone on stage and he's like, "Yeah," and it would like be like this crescendo kind of effect. And the audience would go crazy. I've never seen another artist do it. And because, that is how unique not only the voice, but also the character was Luther Vandross. So when I do a lot of the songs, I try to keep the essence of the song, because we're paying tribute to this magnificent artist, but I also try to show a bit of myself, as in what I had learned from, watching this guy. Because at the end of the day, Luther, there will never be another Luther Vandross. Never, ever. I'm not trying to replace Luther Vandross, but I'm trying to pay my respects to him.
Yes.
And also, I am very proud to say that, I'd learned a lot from watching him through the years as I've grown as an artist.
So all of that comes through in the production, right? So that's what we there to look forward to enjoy, yes.
Absolutely. All of those things is what you can look forward to during the production. We've also got another phenomenal male vocalist from Cape Town, Anselin Geisman, absolute gem. please, people, go and check them out. Andrea Fontaine, Anselm Geisman, absolutely phenomenal artist. Like I said, everything needed to be perfect. And then wrapping up the cast on stage would be Jade Engelbrecht, who would be joining us. I'm very blessed. Over the last 2 years has been absolutely amazing. And I believe that what you put out into the universe comes back to you, So blessings is something that comes to you, and when you receive it, you need to pay it forward. So just about a year ago, I did a talent search called Showtime, because I wanted to find someone that had a talent that we could sort of help expose it to the world and help them grow and nurture the talent.
Yeah.
And Jade was actually the winner of that
Okay.
competition. She is absolutely phenomenal. This will be the first time she gets to perform in a venue like the Lyric Theatre. And yeah, I'm very, very excited for her. Anselin and Andrea, myself, all the entire cast is, it's no strangers to the big stage, but Jade, it's the first time. So we're very excited for her because she is, like I said, phenomenal. And that's why we had the competition, because we want to show the world, just how amazing she is. Taking me back to the band, probably the number one band in South Africa. So any international act that comes to Cape Town, South Africa, these guys would be the band, that they contact. Under the direction of Mr. Charlton Daniels. Charlton Daniels is also an award-winning producer. Like I said, every single thing needed to be top-notch for the show, because we wanted to leave no stone unturned, and we want to give the audience an experience second to none.
The podcast is listened to throughout the world. So as final message, what would you like to say?
This specific event, as you can hear from what I've said, as real, it's really important to me. It's really special, and I would love to share it with not only South Africa,
Yes.
with the rest of the world. And then we need to start here. We need to start in South Africa. Some critics has actually come and watch the show, and they've actually said Fagrie Isaacs is to Luther Vandross what Belinda Davis is to Whitney Houston.
Okay.
So, and I know the world knows Belinda Davis now with her Whitney Houston tribute. And so, if the critics, if that is their comments, it speaks for itself, and I'm very, 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 very chuffed about it. But I'm also very honored, that people had come and had experienced, and they had accepted, the package that we had presented. So to the rest of the world, hopefully we can bring this to you very, very soon. I would love that. I would absolutely love to come and share it with all of you. And to anybody else, if there's anybody out there that has a passion for music, passion, to be creative, don't let anything stand in your way. I believe in the Almighty, and that He and He alone gives blessings, and you never know when your time is going to come. So keep at it, stay strong, and stay dedicated. It will happen when it's supposed to happen.